necessarily about the statement that Fikile Mbalula has just read, but we've seen an ad that the ANC has sent out on Twitter where they're using basically a young woman speaking about how the ANC has done well in Springview and parks and so forth. How do you feel about this particular advert and the conversation it sparked on Twitter that you are using women as objects in order for you to try and gather votes? What's the posture and what was the main objective of that particular advert that you have that is now receiving backlash on Twitter, and particularly to the head of election, who's Dakota referred to as the chief strategist when it comes to ANC campaigns? Was this your idea? And what's your view of women being used as objects and patriarchy in the country and the gender struggle? Thank you.
Number two.
From the Sunday Times. My first question will ride on what Sam was saying with regards to the ANC campaign strategy. Maybe to expand on what Sam was saying, Mr. Mbalula, generally, how do you feel about the backlash? Because the ANC seems to be getting a lot of backlash, even in terms of how you conduct your door-to-doors, the houses that you choose to go to, people still living in shacks. I mean, is it time for the ANC to review, for instance, I mean, how it conducts its door-to-doors and issues like that, as Sam was saying? Secondly, you're speaking of Venezuela. I mean, for me, why is the ANC always seem to be sharp in seeing things that are happening far away from home? I mean, there was not noise to the equal extent when such things were happening just next door in Zimbabwe. They happen all over Africa, but the ANC doesn't seem to be more vocal when these things are happening closer to home. But when they're happening afar, we seem to be sharp in seeing them for what they are. Thank you.
Okay, that's me.
Yes.
Well, my name is Ntebo. I'm with the SABC. I've seen in the statement that 9 million potential voters are still outside of the registration bracket, and 6 million of them are young people. I'm interested in knowing from your part, Mbalula, as the ANC head of campaign, aren't you worried that these 6 million people, or these 6 million young people that are still outside, as the ANC, you're not doing really well as the organization that claims to be rooted within communities, that you seem to be missing this. You seem not to be electrifying this young democratic electorate. 6 million people, 6 million young people. And second, aren't again you worried that it seems your campaign is frustrated or scuppered, or maybe not frustrated by the fact that your campaign is scuppered by the fact that some lazy councillors are not doing their job? And in this voter registration weekend, around 180 incidents were reported, and all of them related to service delivery voters. And it's because of the laziness or maybe councillors are not doing their job. And maybe a tail end to that, the never-ending story in Gauteng of e-tolls. And maybe last, the Secretary General of the ANC, that Mahashila, we are told he has gone to Zimbabwe. Are you aware of that, and what are the reasons?
Next.
Good afternoon. It's Ronaldo from Network 24. Network. Ronaldo from Network 24.
Network 24.
Network. Thank you. I've got two questions for the public protector found that you had violated the Constitution with regards to the nature of your family holiday in Dubai. You are now in a strategic position with regard to spearheading the ANC's election campaign to inspire the confidence of voters in the ANC. Are you not competent? And then my second question, you were recently engaged in some sort of Twitter beef with the former president, where you insinuated that he might have violated party policy by appearing on stage at an official government event. Have you since spoken with the former president offline? how is that issue resolved? And can you just clarify whether or not the former president might have violated some sort of protocols? Thank you.
The next slide.
Yes. My name is Eric Michael from Citizen newspaper. I just want to know, from the survey that was released this month by the SA Citizen Surveys, which said that the majority of those people are not registered and will not be registered, and expressed a view that they are not going to register. Is the ANC not concerned perhaps about people who are at this point saying that they are not even going to register? The second question is, as you know, that out of those people, or from the many of the voting stations or registration areas, there were many voting stations that could not open, or where people could not register because of this protest. I just want to know from that whether the ANC would be perhaps try to lobby for another round of registration in a situation like that. Or are you just going to leave it at that where people were not able to register at all because they were prevented by the protesters?
Any other hand?
Yeah, they all come from the source and have been covered by Panolo, but perhaps if Comrade Mbalula can assist us in terms of articulating the party policy, can a non-sitting president be invited to a government event and speak on behalf of a sitting president? Thank you.
Okay, no, thank you very much, colleagues. I'll give now over to Comrade Fikile Mbalula, because we are a collective where he can't answer you. We'll come in. We'll share the platform. Thank you. Over to you, Comrade Max.
I'm not going to answer questions that I've answered personally with regard to the public protector, and I issued a statement, and I'll refer you to that statement for the future in relation to the report in terms of its status and what we actually say about it. And I think I've answered that question quite adequately and in detail. Samkelo, this is not the only video that was issued. There are many videos that were circulating where people were endorsing the ANC, and they were also expressing their view about South Africa, where it stands. And the lady you are referring to, I don't know when you say we are using women, because there have been many videos, young women and the young people expressing their support of the ANC, or is it because of a social status that actually raises an uproar that she's a model? And we don't look at the social status. We engage with people, we don't script them. And they express their view about democracy. And if young people make headways, Nomza Mombata becomes the goodwill ambassador. We'll talk to her and talk about it. Because that is good, because that's what we want young people to serve humanity, to use their social status, may it be celebrities, to advance democracy. So if in terms of my social status I play soccer, I'm a model, and I use my celebrity status to encourage young people to register, that is good for South Africa, not only for the ANC. It is even more good if they say they support the African National Congress. And that's where it is. I think the issue of patriarchy, it is actually in the mindset of perverts and basically those who define women as sexual symbols. For a woman to make it in life, it is because some men would have assisted them to actually climb and become better. And at the same time, women have got a right to participate, and more especially from all walks of life. So why this video is so important, when we had thousands of videos on social media over the weekend from universities in the deep rural area. Have you seen a video of a guy who's drinking bamba and a guy who's drinking beer and arguing with people in the social setting? Very poor. You could see him, but arguing why democracy must be defended. Have you seen a guy who shans Soli Msimang and say Ubua nonsense? Crippled, a guy with disability, and attacking the DA, and where the reaction from the DA guy says footsec. There are many of such things we can basically talk about that are circulating basically on social media. And that is what I think the ANC has got no agenda to undermine the gender issue. That must be underlined. And there is no denigration of women in that particular video, either in a particular way and so on. The fact of the matter is that people say, no, that video looks like a Dove, what is this? Dove ad and so on. But at the end of the day, it's an expression of somebody who feels deep about democracy and want to participate, and she have observed good out of this democracy. There are those who criticize the ANC and so on. And coupled with that, let me come to the issue of where do we campaign. We are campaigning in South Africa in areas where people still live in squalor and underdevelopment. We have built houses for people, but it's not enough. And we have never said that we have arrived. We campaign among those people. And when our volunteers take pictures and showcase the poverty of our people, it's a constant reminder in our campaign what we still need to do to change the lives of the people for the better. And we'll never defend that there is no expression of poverty in those particular pictures, but that's why we campaign. It is the people we interact with who give us their vote. So when we are in power, we must remind ourselves of where this vote comes from. And these are the people who vote for the African National Congress. And that is it. If we were running a tactical campaign, we'll only showcase houses which we have built. We're not doing that. Go and check Africa Check. Lizelle from News 24 did a very detailed research on the ANC manifesto. What we have achieved, not thumb-sucking, what the ANC have done. And the ANC, on the launch of its manifesto, from the word of the president, we said this has been the good and the bad, but it is our commitment to change that must define us going forward. And we have never said that all what we wanted to achieve has been achieved. We have never said that. We said we still need to do more. And we go into our people and ask for a mandate to continue to govern in majority, to accelerate change in those defects that have actually been identified. Majority of our people in this economy live on social grants. And that is brought by the ANC government to actually mitigate and to ensure that we address the poverty amongst our people. Even the people you are referring to on the pictures and the old lady from Mpumalanga, these are the beneficiaries of the comprehensive social security net of the ANC government. And you can see the RDP house that we are talking about. Even the RDP house that you will have built will still look like poverty is not gone. But these are the people who are beneficiaries of this. And we are not going to run a fake campaign and behave like as if we live in a world in which there is no inequality. This society is defined by high levels of inequality in the world. That is why our approach to the economy, if you read our manifesto on all other issues, seek to address that. And that is what is important. We are running a positive campaign, we believe, but you are the judge. If we are not, then that is the case. We are not running a negative campaign. we are not doing anything of that particular sort. We constantly look at our message and talking to the voter, because the voter is the boss. And even the mere reflection of the DA here, it is a reflection on the campaign they ran, which yourself have actually become witnesses of that particular campaign. We see Venezuela, we don't see Africa. We are defined by the principles of human solidarity. And that is the bond that brings us together. Now, Venezuela and the people of Venezuela equally must enjoy their own self-determination. Now, we are in the Security Council, we are in the United Nations. We cannot say to the world what Donald Trump is espousing in the United States, recognizing undemocratic means of regime change. It is correct. That's what my man is saying we must support. Regime change. We are supporting the people of Zimbabwe. We are not taking sides in what is happening in Zimbabwe, because the solution must come out of the people of Zimbabwe. We can't support regime change in Zimbabwe when there was a democratic election that took place. We can't. Mobilizing anarchy. We need Zimbabweans to prosper so that they don't come to South Africa in their droves and then we start to be xenophobic and call them names. Zimbabweans are here because there is no employment in Zimbabwe. The economy of Zimbabwe must flourish. It's in our interest. My man says there must be sanctions in Zimbabwe. He supports anarchy, undemocratic means in Zimbabwe. We are not supporting that. We are working with Zimbabweans to find a solution to their challenges. 45 rand or what? Petrol per liter. What wealth is that? It's our neighbor next door. When the people of Lesotho are suffering, Swaziland, Botswana, they will come to South Africa. We've got to work with these countries in our neighbors to ensure that we bring about prosperity in their own countries. If Zimbabwe flourishes, Zimbabweans will go to Zimbabwe and work for their own country. There is no employment there. They come to our country looking for opportunities. That's what actually happens. Our government is working with Zimbabwe to ensure that there is a solution in Zimbabwe. People are protesting in Zimbabwe. Civil disobedience in Zimbabwe. What Helen Zille says must happen in South Africa. Civil disobedience. Citizens of this country must revolt and not pay tax if her party is not voted into power. Where have you ever seen such thing? And it happens right in front of us and nobody says anything about it. It can't be. It is undemocratic. It is unlawful. And it must be understood as such. 6 million people, and particularly young people not registered, it is worrisome in a democracy. We've got to engage young people, but we have delivered the results this past weekend, and young people came out in their numbers to actually register. It is important that we must continue to mobilize them, to talk to them, and make them believe in democracy. And that is very important. So when young people like Retabile, in their modeling, they say people must come out, young people must come out in their numbers, you criticize them, you attack them. But we cry of a society that must not be apolitical, that must be conscious. We want a society that young people can express themselves freely, but at the same time participating in democracy, because participating in democracy and seeing value in democracy, it means you are patriotic. How does that then in your social status become defined as patriarchy? What intellectualism is that? I think that is brain drain, honestly speaking, because that's what we are basically calling for. Protests. There shouldn't be protests. We agree. Where there are protests, people are using the social contract to demonstrate that we want to participate, but we will not participate because something has not happened here. That's why our Tumamina campaign is about fixing people's issues. And we have said out of this weekend that where there have been protests, we must not say because they've died down and it was simply a voter registration. We must go to those areas and address people's concerns. We are the incumbency, we are not an opposition. And will suffer the sins of incumbency, even in terms of some of the protests that are actually taking place. We must address people's concerns because people of South Africa have become enlightened and know how to use democracy to ensure that their demands are met. And that is what is important. So if people don't have water, and a simple thing, and it is not addressed, and government has got the capacity to address that, people must raise the ire and say that, look, you will not get our vote free of charge. It's not a blank check. And they protest. But this protest must not become violent protest where you debar the right of others to participate. We will go there and not sing from the rooftops of our offices. Our councillors, our government officials, our structures as we speak are on the ground attending to those issues that have actually been raised. The issue of e-tolls, you know that what is our stance. And we know that that issue is receiving attention at the highest level. And the Gauteng government, led by David Makura, was the first to attend to this issue. And when the solution has been found, proper announcements will be made with regard to that. But it's not a matter that it has actually been left on its own to die or to live a life of its own. It's been attended to as we speak. The SG's whereabouts is in Zimbabwe, is not in Zimbabwe. How is that fundamental? So if it's in Zimbabwe, we'll make announcement if there's anything we need to make announcement. And that's it. But the SG is with us, and he has actually taken a sick note and so on, and that is it. So there's a lot of exchange that we do between ourselves and our sister parties in the region, and the General Secretary of the ANC deals with those political parties' issues and exchange from time to time. If there is any announcement that needs to be made in terms of Zimbabwe and the ANC, it will be made. But we are supporting efforts of peace, stability, progress, prosperity in Zimbabwe. That's what we're doing. Eric, people not registered, registration process. We are going to work hard to ensure that people register, and that is important. I've answered the issue of President Zuma, and so in relation to the exchange that we actually had and the question that I posed the question. Nonetheless, President Zuma responded on Twitter, and we agreed to basically meet over and above that. And I agree with him that probably, yes, I might be posing an important question, but that's not the platform because it will be misconstrued. As you could see, it was for and against, and the ANC, I can't say as the head of election of the ANC, people must stop the tour and exchange on Twitter, and I get to be perceived to be fueling that. And what that question that I posed would have resulted in undesirable consequences is to project as though there is war and there is fight. And so there is no fight. It's matters that indeed we must raise in the organization and resolve them in the organization. So I've exchanged with the leadership, and the leadership of the ANC was quite also not in cahoots with me with regard to that. So we've addressed that particular issue, and I've accepted the reprimand in relation to how we should engage, because we've got protocols. So if I take you on Twitter, and then you are a leader of the ANC, it could be perceived, as much as you are raising an important issue, it could be perceived that there is war. Like now you characterize it as tour. There was no tour. Tour is when there is an exchange back and forth, and there was no such a thing. And we have since laid it to rest, and that is the issue. The issue is important, which we will interrogate, is conventions. You see, conventions which are defined in protocols. And that is what is important. So we need to ensure that we don't trample on each other's toes and be perceived like we don't want to let go. So that's not important. And it doesn't mean that anyone cannot be invited to speak in a particular event. And you need to define that, no, I was invited in an event, and at the same time, it did not undermine any protocols. That's it. Because it's not an official. You see, there are official events where you inaugurate the king. There are official events and all of that like that. So you cannot go to the State of the Nation address and Matamela is not there, and then you have Mbeki addressing. South Africa will be confused. So I know it's an exaggerated example, but that it is. So it's not an attack on the integrity of anybody. But I accept, as a disciplined member of the ANC, I shouldn't have raised that matter on Twitter, because on Twitter it will gather people like you who will just fuel it in one direction, that there is war between Mbalula and Jacob Zuma, the former president. And Mbalula is doing this because he wants to become minister. When I was actually clobbered, I'm here where I am, I'm not a minister. So that is the point. So that's not what we're addressing. We're addressing fundamental issues, and we need to be conscious of how others may use our exchange to meaning something else. ANC is a big political party, and we accept we make mistakes. The difficulty is when, as a leader, when you make mistakes, you don't learn from that. And you stick by your guns and you say, no, I'm right. Yes, I may do and take wrong steps in what I do, in a way of being overzealous and trying to address other issues. I accept that. I accept that. I don't have a difficulty to accept that. I belong to my party, and when they give me direction, I accept it. So I will engage with President Zuma in a way that doesn't take us to Twitter again. And all members of the organization must take example from us, not to do things out of 10, and because we'll be misconstrued that we're a party at war. We did a marvelous job over the weekend. Our people came out. We're still confident in the work that we will continue to do, mobilizing the people. Will register higher numbers. And people believe in democracy. People need to be enthused. But you need to state what you stand for rather than being dirty in the campaign. Because if you are dirty in the campaign and you run negativity, you are not only running out of ideas, you are desperate. You have seen that things are not going your way. You are doing extraordinary things, including being desperate, so that you attract the voter. If you believe in your policies, convince the masses about what you stand for, what you will change. And that is what we simply are talking about.
Yeah, thank you very much, Comrade Bucks. Just on the issue of registration. Registration process has not been closed. All other young people who still wish to register, they can register with their municipal electoral offices. Up until a proclamation is made by the President and a gazette is effected by the Independent Electoral Commission and the Department of COGTA, our people are still allowed to go to their municipal electoral offices to register as voters. I think that is the burden of responsibility for all of us as political parties, as the media, as agents of socialization within our society, to encourage young people to go and register to vote, because that is a basic responsibility of every citizen. Fortunately, in our case, it's not like in other countries, where when you are not registered as a voter, you can get a penalty. In our country, we are still allowing our people to register freely without any coercion or any pressure from the side of government. So we are still encouraging them to do that, and we hope through your partnership as the media, you will help us with adverts, with encouraging our young people to go and register to vote. I hope Comrade Bucks has covered all issues. I'm not sure whether there's any further question before we close, because we want to give you this opportunity to ask us. We are here to answer. Is what? I can answer to Maria Ramos. That's a personal question. I think it will be best place to ask her. Not as far as I know.
No, that's a diversion.
Yeah.
It's anarchy.
Yeah. Yes.
And he knows if he has to ask that question, you must ask it from government.
Yes.
Yes.
For,
How will we speak on behalf of government? We don't. It is an ANC government. The problem is that that's where the feature of the dynamic relationship between the ruling party and the government come into place. You don't understand, because the ANC, as we are here, we can't dictate what must happen, and we can't even speak on behalf of government, because government belongs to the people of South Africa. If Maria Ramos were to indeed go and work in government, that will be the decision of government, and the protocols of government will have been followed. So what places us at the center of speaking on behalf of government, practitioners of government being there, and when we are just at Lutuli House?
yeah, just as an addition, Comrade Bucks, of a classical example, including the board of SABC, is not determined from here. It's determined from Parliament by the respective portfolio committees and the minister. So we are not involved in that particular process. Over to you, Mama. Yeah.
Mine is on the commissions of inquiries that are underway. I think it is coming out from DC, where he's implicated the ANC. I just wanted to find out, as the ANC leadership, are you worried about the perceptions that this might create, or the negative effect that this might have on the election vibe? And what would be your message to people who maybe might be thinking of attending the provincial and fiscal launches, but are still skeptical due to the perceptions that are coming out of this commissions of inquiries?
Okay. Any other hand? That was the last hand. I hope after answering this one, we are closing now. We must allow you to go back to your newsroom for purpose of production in terms of informing our people. Comrade Bucks, I'll give it to you, then immediately after that I will close it.
First, the issue of the commission. We have established the commission through our resolutions in Nazareth. As much as some of the truths or some of the things that are coming out of the commission are horrendous, if you were to think about if they are true, but we must respect the process. And the process means that the commission listens to everybody who come forward to give evidence, and then even those who are implicated will answer if they deem it fit. So the commission is not a court of law. Even in a court of law, there are two sides of the story. Okay? So we respect that, and that the commission is doing its job, and that there are witnesses who are coming out to testify about the state of the capture. And everyone else must continue to do the same, to go forward to the commission and give evidence. And that is what is important. Now, in relation to the perception, the ANC deals with the perception by undoing the corruption. And if corrupt activities that are reported to have taken place and are coming to be true out of the commission, the law must take its course. But over and above that, the ANC abhors corruption. If we wanted to fudge or to hide corruption, we would have not agreed to establish the commission like this. Even if it means the highest people in the land who are leading the ANC are implicated, we must appear to the commission and cooperate and answer and give evidence to the commission. The ANC will speak for itself. On the issues that are raised before the commission about the ANC and all of that, we have long said through our president that we will appear to the commission and give evidence. We are the first to have actually admitted and agreed that we have written to the commission that we are ready to give evidence, and on all things that are raised about the ANC, we will answer, because we are accountable to the people of South Africa. We are committed to undo the wrongs. If you undo the wrongs, it's like a saw When you clean it, you don't just pamper it on top. You dig deep. Even if things that come out, you wouldn't bear them. They must, painful as they are, they must. Because at the end of the day, we must fight corruption. The people of South Africa have said that ANC is just pampering over corruption, is not dealing with corruption. Now corrupt activities are reported in front of the commission. Hey, what is the perception of the people about this? Didn't we say that the commission must deal with that? It must deal with that. If Mbalula is implicated in the commission and it involves exchanging of monies and corruption, he's a member of the ANC, he must answer, because the ANC did not send him to be corrupt. When he was doing things in the dark, whispering in the dark, doing things, the ANC surely didn't say, go minister and be corrupt. No. I must answer. And if I'm innocent, I must be given an opportunity to prove my innocence. The commission is such a wonderful platform to do that. I see people, some of them, including journalists, who are implicated, they rush to Twitter as if Twitter is Zondo. Twitter law is ruthless. I saw somebody there saying to somebody, English came by boat in this country. So please answer the question. There are many prosecutors there on Twitter. The best place to be is at the commission. To say that I didn't do this, I can prove myself, and all of that. I've seen people singing there like Casey and Jojo going up and down of the commission and all of that. Some of them forgetting what they are not supposed to forget. The commission is that moment. And that judge will make up his mind at the end to say that you are corrupt, you are not corrupt, you are credible, you are not credible. We were not there. Now, when we say we want to run a clean government, and some of our representatives are doing wrong things, the ANC can't take collective responsibility about that. There is no such in the ANC that we will take collective responsibility with the wrongdoing. No, there is no such. Neither will we judge our comrades based on hearsay. We will never do that. Because if we do that, we will be devouring our own comrades for the agenda of people that we don't know. But we will never defend the wrongdoing. Neither will we take shortcuts. Some of you want us to take shortcuts. Somebody is mentioned in the commission, Makambe. What if that person is not wrong? It's not wrong. All what has been verbosed there, it's a heap of lies. It's like being incarcerated and go to jail for 20 years because you did not have money to defend yourself. You go to jail. It is discovered after 80 years that you are innocent. Your life is gone. Democracy and the rule of law doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like what you want to do as the media. Sometimes, trial by the media. We help it with Twitter and all of that. Today, we've got court cases that are defined as political because media then went ahead of time. Judge Zondo have warned everybody, all of us, and said, don't do this thing. You've got the scoop. You run this thing ahead of time. Give yourself a chance and allow the witnesses. It's not like this commission is held in secrecy. It's live on television. Agrizi is using, not even Whistler, is using Vuvuzela to say things there at that commission. He's using Vuvuzela. Things that they wake you up, ulele. Uvumte phone uthi no agrizi who agrees ebetheni lo madoda andikakayiboni nam le nto. He is saying what he says. Whether it's true, it will be tested there. That's what is important. We must give this commission a chance. It is saying horrible things about people and all of that. Yes, things that we wouldn't want to hear. But that is the way it is. The ANC have brought you Zondo Commission. Nobody else. The ANC have brought you Zondo Commission. We didn't bring people free chickens Free chickens are alleged to have been brought by people that have brought them. That's it. We have not brought anything of that sort. Our organization gives people mandate to go and serve the people of South Africa. If when I'm serving the people of South Africa, I turn against my party, I do things, then the ANC can take responsibility. But don't expect the ANC to go for shortcuts and do things that in law we will be in violation, including on trampling on the rights of individuals. He is mentioned in the commission, he must leave, must be suspended. Aibo, where have things ever been done like that? Where? So we are a constitutional state. We must pride ourselves that in other countries, what you are seeing in this country, you don't see in other countries. In fact, in other countries, they say you South Africa are too democratic. And this is who we are. When we adopted these laws and our constitution is being hailed in the world and did all the things that it did, others in the world said you are a young democracy, but you do things that we who have been around have not done them. But you, in less than 20 years, you have passed this, you have passed that, you have passed this. This is our country. And these are the things that the ANC government have done stoically, without fear, and move forward because we honor our people. And that's it. And we must understand, therefore, that the Zondo Commission is important for this country, and it is important for us to undo the wrongs. When we came from Nazareth, Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa talked about the new dawn, which the new dawn is not an ideology. It is the era we are in, the commitment to undo the wrongs. You, the people of South Africa, did not vote for us overwhelmingly in the last election. You said, ANC this, ANC that. We said to you, we are on the path of mending. And that path is not easy. It is called renewal. We are not going into this election and saying to our people, vote for us, it is hunky-dory, everything is okay. We are on the mend. From even last year, we've been doing things both in government and in the ANC. Undoing the wrongs. Perception is a perception. There is an entrenched perception that we don't act. Where will we be if we did not have this commission? Rather than answering the question about perceptions. Exactly the perception the commission is trying to address. That's where we are, as the African National Congress, on the path of renewal and growing South Africa. Growing South Africa in reality, from the mishaps of unemployment, poverty, and underdevelopment. So when you get shocked by pictures of people in shacks, there are millions who live in those shacks and who come out in their numbers and vote for us. And we will not be fake and come to you as though we live in a society that is equal. It's not. These are the people who are giving us our vote. We say to our members, remember where we come from. When Lama Goko walk on a stick or anything to be the first to cast a vote, we must remember that our commitment to these people must be redoubled. And that's what we're doing. And when I conclude, there are equally those who say the ANC have not done anything. And we don't argue with them. Our own statistics speaks for themselves. We don't conduct those statistics. AfriCheck is not us. Lizelle is not us. She goes and checks the statistics and gives you a feedback about what the ANC government has done. And that is what speaks for us.